All right, so it is day 2 of the Seint Brush Blitz. Let's go over the brushes, what's in each collection, what I use those things for. So I'm actually starting with Friday. So Friday is probably my first or second favorite day of the Brush Blitz. And it's gonna have this demi brush. It's called the Shape Brush. It's got a nice little domed end. It's a little bit similar to the smaller end of the B squared brush. But it's a little less dense, so it's going to give you even lighter over coverage. I love to use the shape brush if you've got redness or rosacea to lightly brush over, usually June or amber, but some kind of color corrector or even aspen contour over that redness, because it's going to give you a nice little half layer. So it's really nice for color correcting larger areas, especially around your cheeks. But what I use it for every single day, and what comes in the collection with it, is I use it to apply my bronzer. I personally swirl my bronzer with Glow Illuminator, but also in this bundle, so this is Friday's bundle, you'll get the Shape Brush, the Bella Bronzer, which will last you over a year. I've had this literally over a year and it's still got plenty in it, and the Honey Illuminator, which is my favorite illuminator for summer. It's a cream one. So every morning before I start my makeup, I will swirl into my Bella Bronzer and my Glow Illuminator. That's why I put them next to each other with this Shape Brush, and I will just give myself some glow. Can you see that? See that it's kind of just shiny. Now I'll try to do it without the glow so you can see what it looks like when it's just Bella. But a lot of days, this is what I'll do instead of foundation. So I won't even put on foundation. And that's why I'm starting with this one, so you can see that on a typical day in the summer, I might just put down some sunscreen and then put my bronzer over top of it. If you're one of those people whose neck is quite a bit fairer than your face, most people's are, they're covered by your big old heads, but you can go ahead and pull that down the neck, and that will make that transition more gradual. So I love the bronzer, and you can go back after your application and apply more bronzer as well. A lot of people, if you're not a blush person, you need Bella Bronzer. And the reason they're doing Bella is a shade that looks great. We do have other shades of bronzer, but you want to use that one. So, and then at the end, we'll use that Honey Illuminator to bring some light to the parts of the face that we want to draw attention to. Like right here. So this is a little bit out of order because I would typically do this at the end of my makeup, but for the sake of showing you things. So this is day 5 of the Brush Blitz. And then at the end, so yesterday we had the balm. So put a little bit of our balm on first, and then I'd put some illuminator in the center to make my lips, see how much fuller they look just from backing up. When you give them that little bit of shine there, I love Honey Illuminator. You can also do it down the center of your nose, but I don't have my nose contoured yet. So that is the, I don't remember the name of the bundle, Bronze Summer BFF, something like that. That's Friday's bundle. Shape Brush, Bella Bronzer, Honey Illuminator. Let's backtrack to today's bundle. Okay. Actually, you know, I'll do them out of order. So tomorrow's bundle, so that's Wednesday, is the Buff Brush. So that's your full coverage brush. And the Smudge Brush, which is one of my favorite brushes because it has a lot of uses, and the brush cleaning soap. So the brush cleaning soap is going to have this little silicone pad in here. You can see I've used it. It's got Seint embossed on the soap. It smells like tea tree. And you're going to get your brush wet, get it in the soap, and rub it, all the stuff off onto this. Now, we also have a brush cleaning spray. I love that because there's no dry time. So I usually use our brush cleaning spray, and then ever so often I'm going to do deep clean with these. It's a newer product. So this is the bundle that's called Bubbles and Something. So the Buff Brush is your fuller coverage brush, and that's what you're going to use in areas that you want a little bit more coverage. So if you are just starting out with Seint and you're someone using a liquid foundation, my Estee Lauder Double Wear girls, this is what you'll want. If you have the Buff Brush, you need a perfect color match. So make sure an experienced artist has color matched you. Do not go on the website and try to pick your own colors. But I can use the Buff Brush to apply my main highlight shade and get to really see how my color matches my skin exactly. I'm using the shade Athens, but this is what I can use for fuller coverage. I wish I had an area that needed more coverage. Of course, my skin is cooperating right now, but it's gonna give you plenty of coverage if you're trying to even out your skin tone. Let's do it under my nose, because there you can see. Okay. That is your Buff Brush. If you're not getting the amount of coverage you want, you definitely want to jump on this deal. So we've got the buff brush and in with the buff brush. So remember, I've only done certain areas of my face, right? About where a man would have a beard. We'll grab our nose as well. And our nose, that's where our main shade goes. And we'll come up a little bit between my brows. Okay, so plenty of coverage using the buff brush. And then it also comes with the smudge brush. And I love the smudge brush for eyeshadow, but I also love it for contouring in detailed places. So under my lip, I'm using the shade Shadow Contour, which is a very gray contour. It's a great second contour color just for detail work. So I'll go under my lower lip, and that's already gonna make it look way bigger. Take the other side and just smudge it out. And then I'll also use that same shadow contour to do my nose contour. I also use that shadow contour in my brows. I'm gonna come back and show you another way to do the other side of my nose contour. Y'all don't let me forget. But yeah, it's a great brush for nose contour and it's a great brush for eyeshadow. So let's start a little bit of our eyeshadow look with this brush, and then I'll fill that back in later. So I mean, obviously it's a small brush. You could do a ton of things with this, but those are the main ways I use it, are to contour under here and to contour my nose. So then I'm going to use, you can tell I use this shade a lot. This is Bubba. I'm going to use it to lay the base for my eyeshadow look right there on this eye. And then I usually flip to the other end. Drift, you can tell this is my go-to look. Drift is one of our white shimmery shades. Not bright white like Unicorn up here, but still a nice bright shade. So we'll hit under the brow bone with that. And then you could use this brush, but I usually honestly just use my finger to do the main part of the lid. And there we go. Okay, next, let's switch past that brush collection and go to my very favorite one. I was cutting it between these last two, but this is gonna be my favorite one. So Thursday's collection, if you started out with just the 3D brush or just the B-squared brush, I'm throwing brushes, then this is the collection that you need to grab. So this has all the favorites, right? All the things that you might not have gotten when you started up, and it's gonna make all the difference in your makeup application game. You're gonna be so much happier with this. So it comes with my very favorite brush, the detail brush. We're gonna use that to contour. So the great thing about this brush is it's already in the shape that you're making. So it's already in that line. You're gonna have to pick up more of the contour. If you're not using a lot of contour, you're not getting the most out of your Seint, okay? Don't be afraid of it. So I'm gonna come along my cheekbone. And you could see right there, remember my makeup matched my skin down there at the bottom. There's no makeup right here where I just put that and it was already darker because we have natural shadows there. So there we go. And we're going to contour our forehead. So it's just already in the shape that I need, and it makes contouring so much faster. So if you're saying, you're one of those ones that's like, I can't do my makeup in 5 minutes like they say. Well, do you have the right tools? Because you're having to do more blending and placing things in the right area if you're not having the right tools to do that with. Okay, and then I'm gonna dip the side of that brush. Well, I was supposed to do my shadow contour. And just like we drew the line in the first time, we can kind of stamp it in the second time when we're using the detail brush instead of the smudge brush. So that is another way, another reason I love this detail brush. That's tends to be what I use it for, is that nose contour. And I also can do the lip contour that I had earlier done with the smudge brush. So there we go. Then I take whatever's left on the brush and I pull that under my jawline. Try to hide that double chin with drawing a little triangle there. Okay, there we go. Next, let's move on to another brush that comes in that, which is the line brush. The line brush is really fine, really small little fine tip. Can you see that? And it's hard, it doesn't go anywhere, so that you've got a lot of precision. The other end of the line brush has a spoolie end, which is great for applying your brow wax and brushing through your brows before you either use the setting spray or the wax. So I'm going to use the small end for 2 things. I'm going to use that to fill in my brows. Again, I'm using that shadow contour. if you want to grab shadow contour while you're already ordering, get you to that free shipping. If you're doing one of the smaller bundles that doesn't value $50, then shadow contour is a great thing to add. Or you can try one of our seasonal lip and cheeks such as Jolene, August, Melody, or Homecoming. Let's see, so I'm using that to fill that in here. Y'all remind me to get that pimple in a second when we use our smaller little demi spot brush. Okay, so now I don't want a ton on my brows. I'm not a big brow person, so I'm really just trying to get hit where they're patchy, so I barely put any product on here. So if you feel like you're not doing anything, girl, that's because that's the look I really go for, is that I don't have to fill in my brows. I don't want to look like I filled in my brows. Okay, but you can tell it's a little more put together than the last one. And then the last thing I use this for is eyeliner, and I love it for eyeliner. So I'm going to go into our Black Friday eyeliner with this line brush. We're going to stay right along the edge of the lash line. I don't want to do a ton because I'm doing my eyeshadow all out of order today. Because I'm showing you the brushes in the order that they're bundled and not the order that I use them. So it's throwing me off a little bit. So a little bit. Now I could do more, but I'm going to karate, okay? I'm not doing anything crazy today. So, I mean, obviously I'm not in karate. I have 3 little boys. You probably needed some context there. Although the mental picture of me doing karate is pretty funny. I'm not going to do it on the other eye because I don't have my other eye done. Okay, the last thing that comes with that bundle is the eyeshadow brush. So I'm going to take the small end of it, and my favorite thing to do with that is to do my lower eyeliner with an eyeshadow instead of the eyeliner. Just looks a little softer. I don't go all the way around, and then I also darken the outer corners. And then you've got the fluffy end on the other side here. And with that end, you can kind of marry the look together, blend it around, okay? So multiple things we can do with that one. So now we've got that eye done. And then the last brush that comes in the Thursday bundle, again, we're talking 4 brushes in that one. It's the biggest one. It's the ones that complement probably the one brush you already have. So detail brush for contour, and then the line brush for our eyeliner, the eyeshadow brush, and lastly, we have the blend brush. So let's go ahead and knock out the blend brush. The blend brush can be used if you, instead of this full coverage all over, you would like a super light coverage. It's great for teenage girls that think they like makeup, but they don't really need it. We all know their skin is perfect. What they a lot of times just need is the demi spot brush, which we're going to go to in a minute for a little bit of acne coverage. And then they could use this brush all over. So this brush is really nice and light and fluffy. And then you're going to use it to do your main shade. Some people contour with it. Some people do their entire face with this brush. I tend to use it for my under eye area or for blush. Also, it's great for doing our powder illuminator. So those are some things you can use the blend brush for. Right now, I'll show you it just putting on one of our shades of the season. So let's try Melody. Melody is this pretty lip and cheek. And we're just going to put it right over top of our contour. Just nice and light. Now, if you notice, I haven't done anything under eye, but that's because I'm saving it for that last bundle. So you may feel like my look is not put together yet, and that would be why. Let's do a little more. And again, I usually do blush after I do the under eye, so I'm doing my makeup all out of order today. So it's taken me a little longer to explain what's going on, but that's okay. You get the point. I want to show you what's in all these bundles so you see what your makeup routine is missing and what would make you happier. So that you can grab the brushes that you need. A lot of times I will apply my blush with my finger because I can be really precise about where I put it. And this is a really light brush because again, I'm trying not to look like I have on too much makeup today. So I'll keep that right there and I'll let it warm up for a second while we move on to, well, we'll just go ahead and do the under eye with that same brush. I'm going to come back and wash the under eye with this brush, but first let me go to the demi one. Okay, so the demi brush, this is today's, so Tuesdays is when I'm doing this video. This is today's deal of the day. It's got 3 brushes. This one, you're going to use the exact same way I just told you about this one. Look, they're very similar. So anyway, I just said you could use the blend brush. You could do this. I would do my blush with it. You could do all over your face with it. You could wash your under eye with it so that you don't get too much product. That's a great idea. So I'm going to skip that brush. Now I've got this spot brush that's really small. So that's going to be wonderful for getting in those areas that need some color correcting. So personally, you see those lines are right there, those dark lines. I'm going to stay right in them so I can really precisely color correct and touch those. I'm going to a darker shade, Mango. If you're not using a darker shade under your eye, you're missing out. And then I'm going to brighten with Sunlit on the top of it. So I just did them in those troughs right there. And then I'm also going to I'm probably going to use that same brush to go right here. And again, I went back into Mango, which is a darker color. If you're not using a darker color to color correct under your eye, you're probably getting more makeup texture there than you could be. But if you just went up to a darker color, then you could eliminate the texture that you're seeing there and it would look more natural. Flipping to the other end of it to just blend that in. So I put it precisely on the area that needed more coverage, right in that line. I use the other side to blend in. So this is great. Again, remember I had that spot earlier? We're gonna take that darker color, that Mango, and hit that spot only. Take the other side, blend it in. June is a great color if you've got red blemishes. Now, it depends on your skin tone, but if you got a skin tone anywhere similar to mine or fairer than mine, June is gonna be the color that you want to use with this brush to color correct acne. And then,
good morning.
Good morning. And then I'm going to fill that in. So if you have more of acne scarring, it's summertime right now. Okay, so maybe I could like hit that tiny spot, right? Just so you can see how precise this can be. And then I just blend it away or press it in with this one. Okay, so that's what I would use this brush for. And then lastly, you've got this brush that is kind of a mix of the smudge brush that we did our nose with. So if you were like, oh, I want that one, but I don't want to get all 3 bundles. It's kind of a mix of the smudge brush that we could do our nose and under lip with, or the eyeshadow brush that's fluffy. So you could use this for eyeshadow. So I could take those same shades I did earlier with the other brushes. So I can take my Bubba as my base. Oh, I hope I wash this brush out. Yeah, close enough. I have a little brown in it from doing this yesterday. Take that Bubba as my base. And my Drift, which is what we did earlier for underbrow and inner corner. And then remember, I just used my finger to apply hot chocolate. Right, and then I went back to, in my yesterday's bundle, my eyeshadow brush is what I used to take a darker color, like Trust, and do my soft lower eyeliner and my outer corner. So same look, other side. So notice I just did a 4-color eyeshadow look in like 30 seconds. That gives you some dimension. That's what we're going for, is dimension. Because we are taking our 3-dimensional face and we want to retain the dimension that it has. Flipping over to our fluffy side of the brush and blending it out. So there we go. I'm going to come back to, again, you could use either of these brushes. Honestly, you could probably use the shape brush as well, but a light fluffy brush. And then I'm going to brighten under eye. So let me show you. I'm going to use the blend brush and we're going to take, I'm using the shade Sunlit. I could also use the small end of the detail brush, which is my favorite brush that I did the contouring with. Here it is. I could use the small end of this brush to apply this, but we're going to go up beside our eye. Again, I could use the blend brush to do it as well. But I'm going in Sunlit, go up beside my eye and lift up. See how I'm lifting it up? And then I'm also going to do a little bit on the inner corners of my nose, especially if you wear glasses. But I don't want to put it where I've got a lot of texture. Also going to add some right here. Same place we would have done, we did the honey illuminator. You should put this down before the illuminator. But we're just going to take that fluffy end tap just a tiny bit more because I don't want a lot of product here, which is why this is such a great brush for under eye, because you're going to fight that urge to use too much. And we are going under our eye. So now my whole face is done. I've probably used a million brushes and overcomplicated it, but I wanted you to see which brushes came in the bundles you were interested in and what you could do with them. You know what I forgot is the eyeliner, the Black Friday eyeliner on this eye. But you get the point. You can also go back into that honey illuminator that we had earlier, which is going to give you a really nice glow. See that? So it's just going to hit it. Now you can make it more subtle, and obviously I have a light on my face, so it's really catching it for me. But if you're just talking to normal people, it's not going to be as intense, but it's going to raise up my cheekbones a little bit. So I'm loving that. I'm going to use our Shade of the Month Jolene to give me a little more color on my lips. So I'm going to use it as a super light stain, like I'm barely touching it, just for a little bit more color on my lips. And back to that Black Friday, and we are finished. I'm sorry that was such a long explanation, but I like people to see what's in there and what they can get, because the brushes make all the difference. I want you to save some money, get them now. Remember, if you can't get these today, another way to get some brushes for free, especially if there's just one or two that you want, is to refer some friends. Usually takes about 1 or 2 people that you're sending your artist way, which is the biggest way you can thank someone in network marketing. But that's a way to get a brush for free too. So when your friends place $200 in orders, which some people start up with more than $200 in orders, so sometimes it's just one person, but that would get you a free brush. So there we go, we're done for the day. Thanks for all your attention.